It's currently March 24th, 2020. I hope everyone's staying safe, from this whole coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. Doing your best to stay safe in quarantine, and if you are going out, like, make sure y'all being, like, very, very, very careful and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I thought for those who are quarantining right now and shit like that, they can just kick back and just enjoy this review I'm about to do. And this is going to be a very good one. The album I'm about to review today is Scarface with his first solo album, Mr. Scarface is Back. This was released in 1991 on Rap A Lot under Priority Records. Um, Singles, it only came out with two singles, and those are Money and the Power and A Minute to Pray and A Second to Die. Producers include Crazy C and Scarface, and it's no guest appearances on the album. Well, there's like Bushwick Bill, he does some singing on Money. He does the chorus on Money and the Power and shit like that, just some vocals. But other than that, yeah, Face just rips this whole fucking shit to pieces and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, so man, I've been planning on reviewing this album for the longest. Believe it or not, I've been planning on reviewing this album for the longest. You know, um, I was caught up with a lot of shit. You know, as y'all can tell, I'm dressed to the nines today. With this fucking suit I'm rocking today. Cause Scarface rocks a lot of suits around this era. I thought I'd do a little something different. You know what I'm saying? But this is actually gonna be a very different review I'm gonna do. I mean, I'm still gonna do like the conventional me talking about the songs, what I think about them, but at the same time, I also want to recognize how this album is pretty much like a landmark in hip hop and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's get this shit started. All right. So you guys should know who Scarface is. He is a member of the influential, legendary Southern hip hop group, the Ghetto Boys, which consists of members Willie D and Bushwick Bill. Rest in peace to Bushwick Bill. And DJ Ready Red, also rest in peace to him. In the year 1991, the Ghetto Boys dropped like their breakthrough album, We Can't Be Stopped. And We Can't Be Stopped was pretty much like the album that really put them out there due to the song Mom Playing Tricks on Me, which that was like a big song back in like 91, 91, 92 and shit like that. The video got like a lot of airplay on VH1. I mean, it's not like in MTV, BET, all that shit. And you know what? A lot like well, I mentioned this when I reviewed the album a couple months ago, but like originally that song was supposed to have been like a Scarface solo track, just throwing that shit out there. But yeah, so with the success of that, um, they quickly worked on Scarface's solo album and shit like that. As you can tell, this is it right here. Um, yeah, this is the album cover right here. Very, very crazy album cover to say the least. Like, yo, when I first saw this shit, dead ass, like when I first saw this shit when I was little, I have to admit I didn't like I didn't like it when I was little. Cause I just thought like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, man, as you can tell, it's like you have fucking Bushwick Bill doing just ready to shoot and shit. Um, you got fucking Scarface mean mugging. Scarface over there mean mugging and fucking shit. That DJ Ready Red right there. And, Willie D right excuse me. Willie D and shit like that. And it's crazy too because Scarface, he was talking about like the making of this album cover, and he said that like the album cover was really shot near the same place they recorded like the first Ghetto Boys album, and it's not real coke and shit like that. It was just flour to be real, but he said like the guns were real and shit like that too. So and he also said like how Willie D, he had a problem with like the printing, how it says Scarface of the Ghetto Boys and shit like that. And it was pretty much, I think that's like another reason why he had left the group like after the release of We Can't Be Stopped, because he felt like he wasn't getting like a lot of credit when it came to the group and shit like that. And so this was pretty much all of Jay Prince's idea, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so yeah, now as I look at the album cover, I definitely love the fucking album cover and shit like that. Um, Shit, yeah. What's up, Try? How you doing? This it. What's up, Sam? Um, yeah, man. Like very dope album cover. And yes, the album is still sealed, so I'm about to do my unsealing right now. Shit. All right, so let's see what I got. Yeah, nothing to it. Just got the album vinyl and shit like that. So yeah, nothing to it and shit. Alright, so like I said, this is a dope album, you know, very dope album. Let's get right to it. Let's get this shit started. Get this water out the way. Alright, so this album has 12 tracks. Let's get started. Track number one we got is Mr. Scarface is Back. Mr. Scarface is Back. It's pretty much you can say it's a sequel to the Scarface song, which I want to say that Scarface song. I think it was probably on the Grip It album and shit like that. Let me double check. But while I'm doing that, yeah, nice way to like start off the album and shit like that. Scarface just going in, just talking about, you know, just talking about he was on that fucking gangster shit and shit. Yeah, yeah, the sequel to the Scarface song off the Grip It on that other level album that came out in '89. Which I need to get that album, and I need to fucking get that album. But that album goes for like stupid amount of money sometimes and shit. Yeah, man. I also need to get the Ghetto Boys remix album too, which came out in 1992. But yeah, excuse me. So yeah, so pretty much, very dope song. He just going in on this fucking track right here. Um, yeah, man, like he's just going in on this fucking track, just on his gangster shit, you know what I'm saying? Then at the end of the day, he's chilling with this fucking girl and stuff like that. He's threatening to kill this girl, pretty much. It's just a very crazy story. Like, and this is really the album, in my opinion, that made Scarface like one of the most influential storytellers, like in hip hop history and shit like that. Cause he definitely brought in that like that crazed, like that street hustler craze kind of style and shit like that. Yeah, so that's fucking Mr. Scarface is back. Mr. Scarface. Track number two, The Pimp. Again, another, the sex track right here. Just Scarface doing his fucking ode to pussy and shit like that. I like that one line where he says, "Now turn over on your stomach, open up and let me run it. Get in that ass, bitch. This is what I call fucking shit. Oh shit, Brad. Loosen up and it won't hurt so bad. I like to fuck till the rubber's smoking. Switch up and keep on stroking. Bitches walk out the crib with the limp, cause I'm the motherfucking pimp." Like, Scarface just fucking going in. Like, yeah, this album is just definitely like it's definitely on some other shit, vulgar as hell. Like, don't play this around. Don't play this around any females, cause especially these females today and shit like that, cause they'll be like, "Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is that," and shit like that. Yeah, this is not for their sensitive ass ears. It's some real grown man shit at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So that's The Pimp. Track number three we got is Born Killer. Love this fucking track. The beat definitely was very menacing, very dark and shit like that. I love those drums that they use. Scarface just goes in on that track and shit like that. His fucking delivery on this track is phenomenal. Very phenomenal delivery right there. Yeah, man, definitely one of my favorite tracks off this album. One of my favorite lines is when he says, "My mama did her part, but it ain't her fault that I was born without a heart. In other words, I'm heartless, dude. I don't love me. How the fuck I'ma love you? That's right, you guessed it. I'm legally insane. Manic depressive. I'm talking all types of medication to keep me out the mood of premeditated." Like, Jesus Christ. And this was 1991. He was writing like shit like this. Like, damn, man. Like, very dope. Very, very, very dope track. Like, oh my fucking god, like I just love Scarface on to that, man. Track number four, Murder by Reason of Insanity. First of all, dope title. Very, very dope title. Second of all, again, this is another one of my favorite tracks. Very unique song because he's definitely telling a story, and it really does not really have no hook all throughout the fucking track and shit. I always like certain hip hop tracks where it has no hooks and shit like that, and he definitely had me engaged and shit because it definitely told a story about like revenge and shit like that, trying to get back at somebody. You know what I'm saying and shit like that. Yeah, like very, very, very dope track right here. Love. It definitely uses those that Melvin Bliss sample, which I don't even have to say the name of this sample. You guys should know what I'm talking about. Track number five, Your Ass Got Took. Very solid track and shit like that. Very solid track. Yeah, man, just Scarface, going in on this fucking track right here. Yeah, very solid. Track number six, Diary of a Madman. One of my all-time favorite tracks off this album, and possibly one of my favorite Scarface songs. Period, because he's definitely talking about he's definitely talking about depression and just him being angry all the fucking time and shit like that. And it's kind of interesting too because he did this interview with Complex Magazine. He did this interview with Complex Magazine, and he talked about his process when he was writing this song and shit because of the fact that he was really hurt because he wrote this after he had a fight with his girlfriend and shit like that. And pretty much, he just talked about how he just, because it's no secret that, the members of, like, the Ghetto Boys, definitely went through, definitely went through some shit, pretty much, and stuff like that. And, Scarface was very vocal about it, which is one thing I've always respected about Scarface, period, and shit like that, how he was very vocal about, like, his mental health and shit like that. Not just Scarface, but, with, like, Willie D and even Butch with Bill and shit like that, too. By the way, check out the unsung episode of the Ghetto Boys and shit like that came out years ago. Very, very dope shit right there. Yeah, man. Very dope and shit like that. He was in this track right here. He's definitely talking about, you know, he was just definitely sometimes wondering if he's going schizophrenic and shit like that. How he just tries to calm himself down. Very, very dope track right here. I feel like this is possibly my second favorite track off this album and shit like that. One of the most impactful songs in hip hop, if you ask me. Track number seven, Body Snatchers. Again, very, very dope track too, where it definitely has a very nice beat, like very nice beat. I love the bass of that shit. Yeah, man, yeah, man. Love the line when he says, "Many claim to be a gangster, but that gangster ain't a gangster. That gangster is a prankster. Yeah, a prankster. How I rank ya." And that line is so fucking true today because you have like that fucking Takashi 6ix9ine motherfucker and shit like that over here, talking about how much he hard and shit like that. Well, look at him now. He's in fucking prison and correctional facility and shit. And when it came down to it, he had to do what he had to do, and he snitched pretty much. So at the end of the day, you ain't really a gangster. You just talk all out of shit pretty much. So definitely love that song. Track number eight, Money and the Power. My favorite track off this album, man. My favorite track off this album. And this song was also a single too. Money and the Power. Like first of all, like I said, like Bushwick Bill, I believe did some like vocals on the chorus, and he did the chorus and shit like that. Um, Definitely loved the way he added like money and the power, money and the power. I ain't falling short. I got the money and like that shit right there is so fucking. Excuse me. That shit right there is so fucking dope and shit like that. Yeah, man. What I got from that track is Scarface making it out like hustling and shit like that, making it out hustling, and pretty much it's just a traditional rise and fall, for drug kingpin and shit like that. But at the end of the day, even though like he's about to like his life is falling into pieces, he still got money and the power. Like he still got that street cred and shit like that. Again, very like it's like a very original topic when like a very original topic, especially for '91 and shit like that. You know, because you pretty much had songs like this where it talks about the rise and fall of a hustler, and then you had like the rappers saying some shit like stay off the streets, get an education, shit like that. Whereas with Scarface, and shit like that, he's talking about how as long as he reached that level of power and shit like that, he ain't got nothing to worry about. So that's one thing I got about Money and the Power. Like I said, very dope track. The video is very dope too. I love the video, like especially when he's going to death row and you have like that fucking death row community just mouthing off to the chorus. Like it's so fucking eerie. It's dope. Like very dope track. Track number 9, PD Roll'em. Yeah, another dope track right here. Like, oh shit, like this. Notice this whole album does not have no bad tracks. Like, I love the sample that they picked. It's the Southside Movement sample. It's been used a couple of times. I'm trying to think of one hip hop song that uses that sample and shit. I know somebody knows it, but yeah, PD Roll'em is definitely another strong track where it definitely showcases Scarface's storytelling abilities and shit like that. He's definitely talking about how he's warning how one can like stay and have like a street code to live by, and living by that street code can have its consequences and shit like that. Excuse me. So definitely a very very dope track right here. I love the line where he says, the last album passed gold, and if you want to know the meaning of PD Roll, well, I'm gonna break it down for you real clean. Gunshots, all the gunshots doing, know what I mean. In other words, getting blasted, shooting at the bastard to see if he can't last it. Like, love his delivery. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention my favorite lines in Money and the Power. Excuse me about that too and shit. When it comes to Money and the Power, I love my favorite verse was the last verse and shit like that when he's talking about there goes 21 and still stacking 30s. Brought my brother Warren Lee down from New Jersey. He helped me for a minute, then he started screwing up. Said fuck getting paid, I guess my brother's rather fuck. Bitches ran his life and they still running Lee. I guess he doesn't realize the bitch is fucking me. Like, he's pretty much telling like just get this fucking money, like leave all these girls alone, let them girls come to you and shit like that. Um, yeah, man, very dope track. And back to PD Roll'em, yeah, another strong track where it just shows like his storytelling ability and shit like that. So yeah, very dope shit. Track number 10, Good Girl Gone Bad. Judging by the title, you might think it's a storytelling track about this girl who was a sweet little girl who ended up being like a whore or some shit like that. No, 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 no. This is definitely probably the most unique song off this fucking album. So pretty much, Scarface tells a story about how this drug deal gone bad. Of course, Scarface is hot about it. Of course, Scarface is hot about it and shit like that. So he plans his attack on a nigga. And so so this is where the twist comes in. So when he finds a nigga that gave him the bad drug deal, he said that he didn't want you to kill him in front of his son and shit, because his son was, I think, sleeping or some shit. So he drug him outside and stuff, killed him outside without his son seeing, and at the end of the day, he adopted the son. Let that sink in. Like, he didn't want to kill the cat in front of his son, kills the motherfucker, and then he ends up adopting him. That's fucking crazy. Like, that fucking creativity off this album, this artist, I mean, it's so uncanny and shit. Like, I don't know why he called it Good Girl Gone Bad. I don't exactly know why he called it that and shit like that. I guess when he talking about good girl, I guess girl might be a code name for like a drug deal or some shit. But whatever it is, I definitely feel like it's probably the most unique song off this album. Track number 11, A Minute to Pray and a Second to Die. Oh my, this was pretty much the song that made me want to listen to the album and shit. Very, very, very dope track right here. Minute to Play, a Second to Die. Very dope track where he's talking about the story about, another revenge story and shit like that. And I love the fact that he sampled 2 Marvin Gaye songs and shit like that, You guys should know those Marvin Gaye samples. I'm not even gonna say, but yeah, man, very, very, very dope track. And so pretty much, yeah, just traditional shit like that. Yeah, I love the line where he says, um, followed by a lawman, and then came a fire truck. Put his ass on the stretcher, but if he survives, I'm willing to bet ya he'll be out for revenge. They patched him up within the week, and he was back at it again. Like, I love the fucking lines and his delivery. And the last track off this album is "I'm Dead." Again, another unique song where he's telling a story about how he wakes up and shit like that, and pretty much he doesn't realize that he's dead, and so he tries to get people's attention. You know, people don't fucking hear him and shit like that, and so when he looked in the mirror, he couldn't see himself and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So next thing you know it, he realized that he's fucking dead and shit like that. Yeah, man, and then he sees himself like dead. Like it's a very crazy, sad song, but at the same time, it's a very unique beat. I like the fucking beat. It's very funky. He was inspired by he was actually inspired by one of Gangsta Nip's albums and shit like that from an interview with Complex magazine and shit. So, and that's some of the albums I definitely have to talk about my channel. But his albums are like stupid expensive. Gangsta Nip, man, like try looking up a fucking copy of the South Park Psycho and shit. You all know what I'm talking about. Controversial. You gotta love these motherfuckers. But yeah, I'm Dead. Definitely a dope song. And that's all the tracks off this album. Um, Overall, very, very, very dope track right here. This is a hip hop classic, in my opinion. I have to really say this. When it comes to Mr. Scarface's back, it definitely broke down a lot of barriers when it came to hip hop and shit. And a lot of albums tried to, I want to say like a lot of, I was very inspired by this and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, I want to say that 1 month after this album came out, I want to say 1 month after this album came out, Tupacalypse Now, which Tupac's first album came out. And if you guys really listen to a lot of Tupac, like maybe like his first two albums, Tupacalypse Now and Strictly for My Niggas, you can really hear a lot of influence from Scarface and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because Pac definitely had talked about like the struggles of black men and shit like that. Like I can definitely like see a lot of like shit. Like if you listen to a song like let me see, like if you listen to like a song like definitely like a minute to pray and a second to die and shit like that, and you compare it to like the song from Tupacalypse Now, like I'll possibly say you like the Lunatic. No. Fuck that. I'll probably say like Trapped and shit like that. You can definitely see how Pac was definitely influenced by like Scarface's storytelling ability, and it's kind of crazy too. And it's kind of crazy too and shit like that because the fact that Pac and Scarface definitely like was similar to one another and shit like that. When it came to their styles and shit. Um, also, when it comes to this album, I also want to talk about the style of this fucking album. You know what I'm saying? Because this album definitely had a style where it talked about the mentality of a fucking hustler, but at the same time he's still corrupted by his fucking mental state and the shit around him. He's just trying to make shit happen. Mind you, let's look at the Notorious B.I.G. with Ready to Die. Now, Ready to Die was definitely like another classic album and shit like that. I've talked a lot about those Ready to Die and shit like that. And compare the song I'm Dead to like the song Suicidal Thoughts and shit like that. Whereas with Scarface, he's pretty much, awakened himself. Like he's already dead. He's awakened himself and he's a ghost and shit like that. Whereas with Biggie, he's talking on the phone to like Puff and shit like that, and he's just about to kill himself and shit. He's just like you actually see the last moments of Biggie's death. Whereas with Scarface, he's already there, where he's already in his ghost form and shit. And Scarface was pretty much the first rapper to actually name himself after, like a mobster, after mobsters, mob movies and shit like that. Scarface, with 1983 classic movie. Like, I was just watching that the other day and shit like that. I'm just still amazed by that fucking movie. Al Pacino definitely did his fucking thing with that. And so, and if you look at like a lot of these like rappers, with Nas, like the whole mafioso rap scene and shit like that. Now let's not back it up, cause Cool G Rap to this day he's still the godfather of mafioso. He's still the godfather of mafioso rap to this day and shit like that. And I'm not like discrediting his legacy. However, I feel like we should also shake our hands, like take our hats off to Scarface when it also comes to the whole mafioso shit too. Just judging by the fact that he used Scarface name and shit like that. Um, yeah, man, definitely you gotta take note about that shit. What else? What else about this? You know, yeah, man, and it's definitely when it comes to this album, you can definitely say, I'll say it's his most influential album. The Diary is my favorite album by Scarface. It's definitely my favorite album by Scarface. But at the end of the day, when it comes to like his most essential or influential album, the album that I feel like people should start off with, I'm definitely gonna go with Mr. Scarface is Back and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, and even just the storytelling ability off this album was so uncanny. Like, definitely influence. You can see the influence he has on Pac, Jay Z, Biggie, Raekwon, Ghostface, you know, even to this day, even to this day, I would say like Nas, I would say Kendrick Lamar, and shit like that. And we can even fast forward even today with the whole Griselda movement too, in a weird way. So just throwing it out there because Slick Rick to this day, he's still like one of the most influential storytellers. Like he pretty much made that shit known, but Scarface definitely was the one who made those storytelling and hip hop more graphic and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I've always pictured about this fucking album. So, and yeah, I know this is like a very, very long review. I know I'm talking a bit too much and shit like that, but at the same time and shit like that, this album is just so fucking amazing to this day. Like, not a bad track off this album. Very, very influential and shit like that. Yeah, man. According to my research, this album was re-released on vinyl in 2015 and 2015 and shit like that. Which I want to say this is actually the reissue. If I'm not, yeah, I think this is the 2015 reissue on vinyl and shit. Cause I know on CD they re-released this album with the chopped and screwed, which that's the one thing about the Rap a Lot records and shit like that. How they always had them albums that you've been looking for, and then they re-release it, and it's like the chopped and screwed shit. Like it's just like a sudden thing too, but they just need to get that shit together. But yeah, man, Mr. Scarface is back. Very dope, 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 dope album. It's a must-have in your collection. If you're a fan of Southern hip hop and you don't own this album, I don't know what to tell you and shit. And the OG, not the chopped and screwed version. Don't get that. So yeah, must have in your collection. Alright, so just a little announcements I'm gonna make before I end off the stream. For one, I'm filming. I'm gonna be filming. I'm filming the beef episode with the Fugees this week. So hopefully I will be done with that by the weekend. Hopefully. Um, this upcoming Friday, I'm planning on reviewing Kelly Price's first album, Soulful Woman, that came out in 1998. So stay tuned on that. Stay tuned on that. And also me and Tra, we're gonna review Comments Like Water for Chocolate on this channel. So I can't wait to do that. I'm gonna listen to the album tomorrow and shit like that. Oh, also, so with my next review, my next live review, I'm possibly gonna be talking about I got like 2 CDs. I actually want to show y'all before I end it off. I want to give a few shout outs to people and shit. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my homegirl Ash. She hooked me up with Janet Jackson's The Meet Joe album. This came out in 2004 on Virgin Records. Um, yeah, man, this album right here is very solid album from Janet. I kind of feel like it doesn't get its props because of the fact that this is released around the time around the whole Super Bowl controversy that she, excuse me, that she got blamed for and shit like that. But yeah, I'm not going to dwell in the past. However, um, singles albums known for are Just a Little While, I Want You, I love that song, All Night, Don't Stop, and R&B Junkie. Yeah, this is a very dope album and shit like that. It's not as like strong as like shit she did like in the golden era, like Janet Period and Velvet Rope and all that shit. But it still stands on its own if you ask me. So yeah, this is the Meter Joe, released in 2004. Must have your collection. Shout out to Ash for that. And the next album I want to do, I'm going to show y'all is Guru with his first solo album, Jasmine Taz Volume 1. This was released in 1993 on Crossless Records. You guys definitely should know who Guru is. One of my all-time favorite MCs, period, and shit like that. Um, this definitely was his first solo album. This was released right after Daily Operation and before Hard to Earn. Yeah, man. Finally got my hands off this album and shit, which I'm also going to be doing a review on this album sometime next month, so be on the lookout for that. Singles album is known for. It came out with a couple of singles. And those singles are Trust Me was a single, which I love the video version more than the album version, which nothing against the album version, but the video version definitely, I don't know, it's just one of those cases like, one of those cases of it fits the album more and shit like that. But yeah, and also check out the In Living Color performance he did. Very dope performance, by the way. Lounging, No Time to Play, and Li Bien Limal. Um, the thing that's groundbreaking about this album was the fact that he was actually one of the first rappers. Well, I think he was actually the first rapper to actually collaborate with the cats that he sampled from and shit. Like he was collaborating with cats like Roy Ayers, one of my all time favorite jazz artists, jazz fusion artists, of the '70s and shit like that. I definitely need to talk about some jazz in the future. I want to do that sometime this year. I definitely want to talk about some shit. Lonnie Liston Smith, whose work was sampled a lot. All my Jay-Z fans should know about him, and so on and so on. And so with this album right here, it definitely has like a huge following when it comes to the UK. Like it did well in the United States. It peaked in number 24 and shit like that. But in the UK, it was definitely a lot more popular because the UK around that time was had like a lot of artists experimenting with jazz and shit like that too. So yes, and I think this album was recently re-released last year. I want to say I think it had like a bonus disc with like extra remixes and shit like that. So expect a review on this album next month. I can't wait till I talk about this. Guru's Jasmine Test Volume 1. Be on the lookout. Alright, and I'm going to end off this video right here and shit like that. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'm going to reply back to a few comments. Yeah, Yeah, I definitely read because like when Scarface went solo, that's when all the love started going to the Getter Boys and Scarface. And mind you, like that next year, Scarface was on Cool G Rap and DJ Polo's Live and Let Die and shit like that. Both him and Bushwick. Yeah, man. I'm definitely gotta talk about The World Is Yours very soon, man. I don't have the album. I'm still gonna talk about it because I know eventually I'll get the album very soon. Alright. Yeah, Sam. I'll definitely talk about Scarface the movie one day. One day I'll talk about that. Um, Hate Chopped and Scoot is shit. What's up, Eric? Yeah, you like the beef videos? Definitely. Yeah, thanks for the lookout on the beef videos. Yeah, you like the Kumo D and the LL Cool J one. Yeah, that was definitely a good one I did. I have a feeling you'll definitely like the Fuji's episode I'm gonna do and shit like that because, I think this might be my longest I think that might be my longest episode and shit. I Okay, you order a taste of honey's first. I never really got into a taste of honey except for that sukiyaki, whatever you call that, except for that sukiyaki song or whatever. I never really got into them like that, but good looks. Um, Other than that, thank y'all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at MC Reg Music. Follow me on Twitter at Real Reg.